How's it going? Hey everybody, and welcome back to another X-Plane 11 stream. We're on the ground here at Casement Aerodrome Baldonnel, and we're in the Sia Marchetti SF260. This is the one that came out from J. Rollon. So we're just going to do a couple of local flights around the area, just to mess around in the Marchetti. It's a really nice plane to just hop in and throw it around the place. It's very fast, very manoeuvrable. So that's the plan. I do hope you're all keeping very well. I've had a night of it. I tried streaming earlier on and anyway, we're here now. We're not late or early, well, we're here. So if you can let me know in the chat how the audio and visuals are. I say this every time. You think I'd get the hang of it by now, but I absolutely can't, as I try and navigate here around this cool looking airplane. So we spoke about this in the last stream when we went up to Gormiston, and we said we'd have a quick look at the Marchetti. So here it is in all its wonderful glory. The Irish Air Corps operated a number of these back in the day, primarily used for training and also light strike. They had air-to-ground capabilities. So there's quite a package with this aircraft. It comes with 3 different variants. It has a civilian, a military, and one that includes the Garmin GNS 430. And it also has a whole load of cool extras that we'll have a look now in a sec. Great to see you, Sean Dempsey. Many thanks for joining me here tonight. Marchetti, yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. So our plan is we're going to hop in, get a couple of things set up. Open our canopy here as well, because why not? Let our music play here. It'll slowly but surely drift into the background. So this aircraft comes with the reality expansion pack built into it, which is a fantastic addition. It's very similar to that of the kind of AccuSim. So it's always great to see. So with this, it has everything from the knee board, which goes through all your procedures. You can go out and set your weight and balance. So fuel is fairly full. We're laughing. You have weight and balance, and you can set up different weights for be it passengers or the pilot. It has a walk around mode. It has a towing mode. And if we go into our maintenance report, it's pretty much a living, breathing aircraft. So as we have a look here, so it's the Sia Marchetti SF260. Its number, the number of hours in which it's flown, the type of the engine, and how many hours are on said engine. So we'll just make sure that there's everything, or make sure that everything is in good condition. So we'll recharge a little battery here. Items and poles are all there. GPS, all our avionics seem to be working fine. No problems with our instruments. Everything appears to be good. Cool. So I have X camera set up on this as well, so it might take a few minutes just to get used to it. So we'll see how we go. In terms of static elements, just double check everything's turned off. Toggle static elements rather. Yeah, they're all off. So just to show you where we are. This be Casement Aerodrome Baldonnel, headquarters of the Irish Air Corps. It's just outside of Dublin City, and slightly north of here you have Weston Airfield or Weston Aerodrome, which is a small private airport, I suppose, mainly for flight training. A couple of business jets pop in and out there as well. So the vicinity of Dublin Airport is just up here, so it's quite close. Your various business parks and whatnot around the base as well. So we've no particular flight plan. We're just going to jump around and have the crack, really. So battery. Here's power coming on. Jump down here to our little instruments. So we'll get our nav lights on. Our beacon should make a whole lot of noise, which it does. Our fuel selector is on both tip tanks on the side. So our nav lights are on. Ailerons into the wind. Good evening to you. I hope you're keeping well. Do you find the takeoff run? This aircraft is awesome, as it can be a little tail happy. Yes, it's a bit of an animal to control. So we'll give it a go. This is the first time I've actually flown this with the new rudder pedals. So we'll see how well that goes. So that's all we need over here for the minute. Booster pumps will come on now in a sec. So we'll go ahead and put our prop to full, open our throttle, set our mixture to rich. Boost pump can come on. So we can see our fuel all here. And if these avionics start fading out, as you hear me click, it'll actually make them shake, and as if you were to give them a tap, which is pretty cool. So we can go ahead, turn on our magnetos. As we jump outside, all our lights are working. Why isn't that going back to our center view? Okay, so if we do this, interesting. So we need to go into X camera here just to fix something. Toggle, retain mouse look position. Let's see now. Enable smooth transition. Should be okay. We'll select this camera here, save that, and that should be it. The noise of this thing. Okay, so park and brake is on. Battery's running, mags are running, so we'll go for a start. And there's a start. Keep an eye on the RPMs. We seem to be okay. Lower our mixture here a little tad, and we'll sink our RPMs back down to 1,000. Like that. Alternator can come on now, and now we'll go ahead and switch on our avionics. And you have a backup here to your avionics as well. We can turn that on. Pitot heat can come on. Landing lights leave off at the moment, along with our strobes. Because this aircraft has the reality expansion, you have to mind things. You got to be careful with your temperatures and your pressures, because you will damage it. So we won't do that just yet. So this all seems okay. Jump outside here for the sounds. And we do have F-mod sounds of this as well. Just a nice, pretty little airplane. The Mustang of the small planes. So close this guy up here now as well. Now I thought there's a headphone function, but I don't think we need it. So let's have a quick look down here, make sure everything is doing what it should do. Set our altimeter here. Let's see here, everything's okay. We'll select 4,000 feet on our autopilot. Squawk, we'll just squawk 7,000. And we'll go to altitude mode. Bring on the landing lights now. Strobes can also come on. We don't need time DMEs on. Second altimeter, just out of habit, I would usually set, if I have two of them, I'd set one of them to actual ground level that we're sitting at. It's handy for flying low. Manifold pressure is fine. RPMs are sitting just over 1,000. Oil pressure is starting to come up into the green. Oil temperature in the green. Our cylinder head temperature is reading good. All our fuel tanks are working. Booster pump again. Switch that off now. We'll change our tanks there after a little while as well. That's weird. My camera won't revert back. Troubleshooting X-plane. Because that's something we never have to do. So why is my camera... So we have a plug-in effect. Let's have a look at X camera here. So let's see. Retain mouse position, that's okay. Don't force. Advanced transitions, none. Dun, 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 dun. Free camera, no. Scenic flyer, no. Enable track camera heading, no. That's very strange, isn't it? Is there anything on this that's not on this? No. Don't force. So, force to 1. No. There's our yoke spec. Enable temporary positioning. How the camera restore to its last save point if you move it off or reselect it. So if we go ahead, that's a little bit high, isn't it? If we go ahead and save this. There we go, we fixed it. See, we're geniuses, lads, we're geniuses. Okay, so we're going to go ahead rather and start taxiing this. So to do so, our parking brake will come off. And we have a slight roll. And we're all shakes and jumps here, so that's all cool. So the modelling work on this is fantastic. And the sounds are good as well. Okay, let's stay in here because it's a doozy on the ground, or it can be. Also the flaps. Grand. They all seem to be working. So double check all our temperatures here. Everything's doing what it should be. Flaps are just sitting at around 10 degrees, which is more than enough. RPM sitting on idle. We don't need a whole lot of runway for this, so our first runway here is going to be ideal. Get ourselves lined up. Which has been brutal. Alrighty, so make sure come to rich. And we'll see how the sounds react now. We go for our takeoff. Okay, we're good to go. There's a whole lot of vibration. Good shot of right rudder heading down the runway here. It's behaving itself. Power set, airspeed is well alive. Just before 80, we're going to start getting very light. And we're airborne. Come off the rudder here a small bit. Tapping the brakes. Landing gear coming up. Bring our flaps back in now as well. Cool. You'd miss these things flying around Dublin, wouldn't you? Okay, decent takeoff. Just get ourselves trimmed out here. Rate of climb is fairly good. So they're highly maneuverable. Bring our props back here not to put ourselves under pressure. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how Baldonnel looks in Microsoft Flight. I have a little bit of info on it, but not a lot. But we'll see. We're less than a month away from the release of the new sim, so it will be interesting. to bring these sounds up a smidgen. So far, everything behaving itself. Great modelling work on this with the reflections and PBR, and the paintwork on this is fantastic as well. Really nice. I remember seeing a video years ago. It was one of them. Do you remember RTE had this Make Me Smile campaign, and they get kids to write in and, you know, make a wish for a day kind of thing. And I remember that the Air Corps flew out, or Marchetti, out to Galway or Sligo, I think, one day, and a kid got his very own flight in a Marchetti from the Air Corps. That would have been class. I think someone else got a chopper to school as well. An Alouette, or could have been a Dauphin actually. I'm running V countries with X Europe, yes. So if it's just V countries on its own, they do include their own overlays, but I think with X Europe it just kind of, it updates the place and it tends to just pump the ground objects. And depending, of course, on the resolution, how well it looks. Like, there's not a whole lot of objects down there, but the ortho looks so good, you kind of get away with it. So we're up over 4,000 feet. Speed is good. We're kind of in the soup here now a little bit, but it's handling well. With X Europe, it's a bit of a resource machine. Like it you know, it's 8 gigs of a download, or an install rather, and it'll crank your processor. But it can be visually stunning. Like looking out there, that's all X Europe for all the objects. So it does look quite convincing. Like everything else, once you get up high enough, everything looks fantastic. So far so good, everything is behaving itself. RPM is fine, temperatures and pressures all seem fine, fuel tanks are okay. No problem down here that I can see. Just great detail in here. Everything from the floor mats to the textures to this worn look, the bit of dust, the dirt you have, the chairs. I mean, they look fantastic. A lot of work went into this thing. And I love the canopy, I love that tint. And then your static pipes there in the wing flapping around. X Europe can be an FPS killer for low end, but I have a similar setup and run. Same scenery files for those yet to do it, or if they just don't understand. Good evening, Kenneth. How are you? Thanks for joining us. I hope you're keeping well. Pity Orbex didn't do Ireland like the UK. They were going to. So John Venema came out with a release, I think, back in 2018, and they said they were working on their project for Ireland. Moved it slightly, which is going to be great news. And they have an awful lot of data already for Ireland. Like they commissioned an aircraft to come over to do all the aerial photography, and they have it all now. I think there's some sort of a licensing issue or headache with, I think it's to do with Ordnance Survey, and it's very expensive seemingly. They don't have the freedoms that they would have in other countries, more than likely the likes of the States, you know, with their Washington and Florida and LA or California sceneries, which pretty much sounds typical Irish kind of a problem. But I believe that's what's causing the delay in it, because they released their own for FSX and P3D. They have an Ireland scenery package. Now it's not photoreal, but it's fairly good. The OSM data they used was brilliant. So yeah, it's a bit of a pity that we haven't yet seen Orbex for Ireland. But in saying that, like, I have all of Orbex's sceneries, and I had them all for FSX as well. And what I've found with V Countries, which is free, and looking out the cockpit here over the wing, looking at the ground textures, that's as good as Orbex. Like, it at times the only difference that I've seen is if you know when you get low to the ground, Orbex does this really clever thing whereby they kind of sharpen the textures and they add like a layer over it, so it looks like, doesn't matter where you land on, it looks like you're hitting a surface. With ortho tiles, it looks like you're going into some sort of a mushy, soupy kind of a thing. So that is a pity, of course. And again, you know, when it comes to satellite imagery, you're kind of limited. Xenviro have an amazing way to deal with photo scenery, whereby they can change the texture tones, so they can actually make it appear like there's different seasons, with snow and in the autumn and in springtime. Xenviro, it's a slow burner for updates, and I can't really blame them for that. They're doing things to the weather engine in X-Plane that no one else is doing. And I love UltraWeather XP, I love SkyMax, they do amazing things, but Xenviro are so close to what is on offer in Microsoft, say. They're very close to that. They're following the same line. So we'll have to wait and see. And with Microsoft coming out with their phenomenal looking weather engine, they've now set the standard, so a lot more people will join up to it. And I think even Microsoft has said during the early days of the alpha they weren't going to include kind of seasonal textures, and then I think at Christmas just passed they released a video that has snow, so the entire scenery can now be covered in with snow. There's ways around it, so yeah, I agree. This is as close to Orbex as you can get. Almost better because it's free. Like, you know, Orbex charge anywhere between 20 and 30 bucks for an airport. A scenery area like Great Britain South or Central or North, they're pricey enough. So, let's go off and do a little bit of sightseeing here, shall we? And we get my bearings right. So we're heading south back towards Bal. Yeah, just 48 gigs to download. Although if you look at Arbex, they're sizable as well. And like then, like some of their bigger ones, like the Great Britain ones, they were hundreds of gigs. They were massive. And now they've come back and they said, right, they have a HD or an SD solution for you. And the difference between them, like, depending on your altitude, but there is a notable difference between SD and HD. Fancy some aerobatics? We can always try. Last time we did aerobatics in X-Plane, it was suggested by Black Knight and the Sim Crash, but why not? There goes your lunch. Okay, there is something down here. I think this was like to strap you in to stop you from moving around. So yeah, our altitude is fairly decent, speed is good, so go for a barrel roll here. As we dip the nose down, pick up our speed, we're going to aim for about 200 knots. And we go for a loop. It's cool the way the aircraft reacts to aerobatics. Like everything shakes and rumbles, and you have to apply a whole load of rudder. As our failed attempt at that loop, we'll try it again now in a bit. It's very tail happy, so to keep a coordinated turn without dropping, you know, 2,000 feet of altitude. $2,400, you say? Get ourselves leveled out here a little bit now, pick up some speed, and we go at it again. We need something else kind of music. Yeah, that might work. Continue our climb back up. We're heading up towards Gormason. We'll fly up the general direction, hang a right and come back in over Dublin City. So guys, I gotta ask you, what are your own favourites in X-Plane? Do you prefer the smaller GA stuff? Are you more into your jets? Anyone try any of the helicopters? I'm interested to know, because you know, if you go on to the likes of Twitch, and I like Twitch is so lonely for me. There's no one on Twitch yet, so the hope is we'll get more people following the channel and we'll ramble over to Twitch maybe once or twice a week. But anyway, when you're in Twitch, it's nothing but the big tube liners, your big 737s, 747s, 787s, and I see the new A350 got an update. I must check out QA Pilot's review of that, but I don't know. What do you guys prefer yourself? Yeah, the Torque Sim Islander, that's a great airplane. It just got an update there a couple of days ago as well, but really, really cool plane. And it's very well optimized as well. I mean, you can fly that in pretty much any condition. It's low and it's slow, but it's a nice plane to fly. I haven't put enough time into the Marchetti. This one is fantastic. So we get a bit of turbulence here in the clouds. Just a class plane, isn't it? GA are definite winners in terms of relaxed flights. Larger frames, more suited to point-to-point flights. I agree, yeah, 100%. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the jets as well, but it depends what you're flying for. The short hops from, you know, Ireland over to the UK or even Northern Europe, they're fine. I'm getting really bad performance in Northern Europe at the moment. I don't know if it's because of Europe or what, but it's not really flyable. Ailerons into the Wind says, I can't fly helicopters at all. However, the TBM, PC-12, SR-22 and C-172, and every now and again the Zeebo. Also fly with FD2S flight deck to sim. Ah, yes. On his members' flights, and that's a good giggle if you ever want to let me know. Yeah, flight deck to sim, that's a great channel. His voice are actually in the Zeebo mod for the cockpit announcements. But yeah, his channel is really good. So as we're flying over Dublin Airport, we can see the new runway being built just over our fuel tank here. That'll make things very interesting. The way things are at the moment, not too many flights in and out, but that'll change eventually. Oh yeah, the Kodiak is very good. Kodiak Quest is a great plane, and the new one, the Pilatus PC-6, I think. That's awesome. Yeah, no, Twitch is grand. Like it's. I don't know. It's just another platform to stream on, you know. But YouTube is grand as well. It's whatever's easier for you. Like YouTube is great for finding other content because it'll link so many videos to it, and we've all done the whole binge thing. Yeah, you'll go on your phone or use your PC, and you know, next thing it's, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning and you're still watching just video after video. YouTube is great for that, and also, you know, bad for that. Twitch, a little bit different. You kind of have to. It's harder to discover people on it because they'll push more exposure, if you like, to the higher viewers. Yeah, so they're going to advertise, they're going to showcase the more popular streams. So it's very hard to I think it's very hard to get started off on Twitch. So the idea behind what I'm trying to do is get as much exposure as I can, be it here on Twitter. We have a new Discord page as well, guys. how do I link that? If you go, if you're on YouTube, you'll find it somewhere in the channel, and I'll put it on the description of this video. Plus, I think it's gone into the description of the last stream we did. But there's a Discord there, and I'd love if you join it, because that's just our own kind of page, and I've stuff in there for X-Plane, for Flight Sim, for driving and shooting and everything. So it just gives us kind of a platform to keep the discussion going, and any questions you might have with your sim, if there's any advice or any help I can give you, that would be the best place to ask the question. And other members of the community will help us out as well, other members of the channel. David Crawford, good evening to you, sir. Thanks for joining. I hope you're keeping well. We're here in our beloved Marquetti Warrior, just kind of bombing around Dublin City here at the moment. Black Knight, great to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I hope you're keeping well as well. I hope you're keeping well as well. He says, love going low and fast and spinning in the Hawk and Tornado. Helos are great fun as well in the S92, Black Hawk and Panther. I was thinking of picking up the Tucano, as there is no PC9. There's one very high-end simulation. I think is it the Tucano? It's like £100 for this thing, $100. But seemingly it's like the fidelity of this thing. They use it for real world training, and it's not really publicized, or it's not loud. It's not. You don't see it on a lot of streams. I think it's the Tucano. Have you done much around CS or CZST? You're putting me on the spot here. CZST. Stewart Airport. Would I be correct in saying that's Stewart Airport in Canada? Do I have Stewart Airport? I think I do have Stewart Airport. I think I have. It's similar to that of Bella Coola, so I will definitely have a look for you as we change a bit of music here. Ailerons into the Wind says 3 o'clock in the morning and you're watching dogs trying to talk, thinking to yourself, how the hell did I get here? Been there, bro, many nights, haven't we all? Reruns of stuff or funny videos or epic fails or Vine videos. Yep. Your brain just goes to, like, you leave it at the door somewhere and then you just watch all these things. Davin Crawford says, just joined the Discord there. An idea for it I always think is a great one to see how everyone flies would be a screenshot section. Davin, I totally agree with you, yeah, 100%. So there's a media thing in it. Flight media, definitely. I'd love to see some of your screenshots, guys, and videos as well. Any suggestions you have for flights, some of the screenshots you're doing. That is nice scenery, and I have to say the sim is running butterly smooth here. Let's do this. Stuart's in British Columbia. Cool. Yeah, we must do stuff up there. I haven't reinstalled Bella Coola yet. Black Knight, I think I share your I'm trying to think of a decent word for this, but I have to say the creative mind for me only kind of kicks in from like 10 or 11 o'clock at night till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, I wish you'd wake up and just go, oh yeah, here's a great idea, and go do it. But yeah, the creativity really only flows from late at night. Gotta fix that somehow. Right, so we're going to change our fuel tanks here. So we're at a quarter on our tip tanks. So we're going to put our booster pump on. And we're going to go for a right ring. Now let's do this without stalling the engine. There we go. So we're going to use our right wing fuel tank and let that burn down a bit. As we're coming down into Wicklow, kind of Newtown, Mount Kennedy neck of the woods. I think that's the Sugarloaf. That's on the ground at Newcastle as he pressed the wrong button. So there we Newcastle. We flew up here on our last stream from Waterford. And there's a big tile that doesn't seem right. Need to fix that. Anyway, we'll spin up here to the right and come in over the Wicklow Mountains and back up towards maybe Blessington Lakes. But yeah, guys, as I said, use the Discord server. There's an invite. Can I put it in the chat? Hang on, we're going to get really technical now. No, that's not it. Bear with me, we have a look. Davin Crawford is here, super. So if I invite, copy the code, paste the code. There we go, guys. That Discord link is in the chat there now, if you want to check it out. So I have an X-Plane 11, a Flight Sim 2020, racing, driving, FPS, and then we have media as well. And we can open up more channels, text channels in it. So if you know, we can go into hardware configuration if you want. We can go into hardware configuration or tutorials if you guys want. Anything down to what peripherals you use, settings you use for said peripherals. And I'm happy enough to share everything. I'm no genius by any stretch of the imagination. Anything I do now, I've picked it up on YouTube as well from the vast array of flight sim enthusiasts, from QA Pilot, from Catstrator, Thomas Rasmussen, Oz Flight Simmer, Gripper Sim. Who else? Hotchmania, he's over on stream. Picked up quite a bit from him. Coming in over the mountains here, that's nice. One of the most handcrafted airport on Microsoft Flight Sim in X-Plane 11. Download prop strikes and some awesome bush flying in the Kodiak is a must. I must definitely check that out, so. Now, I do know the Air Corps are actually renowned for low flying training around the Wicklow Mountains because we're not too far from the Glen of Amal. This plane is so much fun. It's so fluid now. It's actually quite difficult to keep it kind of steady and behaving itself. It's you know it's a high performance aircraft. It wants to do a whole lot of things. Yeah, this is definitely one for a joystick. Speaking of which, what do you guys favour, yoke or joystick? I've been eyeing up that honeycomb. I haven't picked it up yet. I kind of want to wait until the throttle comes out. Sean Dempsey says HCC students are always down around Blessington Way for mountain flying training. Interesting. The weather kind of lends itself to it, I would think. Low visibility, maybe quite choppy up here as well, and all sorts of crazy winds. Ailerons into the wind says, both I have the honeycomb. You have a joystick and the honeycomb. Did you have something before the honeycomb? Did you have like the Cytec yoke, or was that your first yoke? I had the Cytec yoke, then I got the Cessna yoke, which was also from Cytec, which kind of gave you the full 180 degrees, which was very good. So, how would you, like, would you say the honeycomb is definitely worth the investment, or it's kind of matter of choice? Yeah, the Thrustmaster Airbus stick, that looks kind of cool actually. Now I have the HOTAS, the Warthog stuff. But as far as I know, the new Airbus stuff, that has, like, it has the same sensor. So it has the same resolution as this joystick. Now I love the Warthog stuff because it's hard and rugged and it's all metal construction. And I find it just extremely accurate. In fact, my flight sim setup is now all Thrustmaster. I've only copped that. The pedals, the throttles, and the joystick. And I've nothing to do with them, it's just I like their stuff. It was all Cytec before that, and then that was Logitech, I think, bought them over. And now it's all Thrustmaster. The honeycomb is 100% worth every penny. Sold! We're going to need an excuse for this. Yes, I needed to buy it to evaluate it for the channel. That's what we're going to say, and that's how that'll be done, and that's how I'll get away with it. Yeah, I've been looking at it. It looks awesome. Yeah, that's interesting. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what way I set up my cameras. I need to go back and do it again. But if you're flying jets, you need a joystick. Yeah, well, yeah. The Boeings are great with the yoke, I found. But the kind of the deal breaker for me when I flew with a yoke for years. I never bothered with the joystick. The last joystick I had before this was the X52 or something, and I didn't use it all that much. And before that, I had the Microsoft Sidewinder, which was fairly decent actually, considering I had force feedback in it. Wasn't very good, but I had it. So I've always been a yoke guy until I finally picked this thing up. And I kind of knew when I was getting a joystick, I probably wasn't going to go back to a yoke, because it depends on your own setup at home, what you guys use. But like, I have my desk space, and if there's a yoke there, where'd you put the keyboard and yada yada. But no, I need to get one now. It needs to be got. The honeycomb rudders, I am waiting on the pre-order so I can replace my Cytec Pro. I haven't seen them yet. I must have a look to see is there any media stuff out for the rudder pedals. I was going to wait for them, and then I just said, like, I fixate on flight sim hardware, as in I wait so long because I get as much information as I can. Then I go off and I'll think about it for a while, and then I'll wait some more. And from my setup, I went from the Cytec Pro rudder pedals to the TPR pedals with Trustmaster, and just day and night difference. Like, they enable you to fly choppers, they enable you to taxi and control the aircraft so much better, because the sensitivity of them is just so responsive. They're absolutely brilliant. Yeah, the Trustmaster pendulum rudders, or rudder pedals. But see, like, I mean, it's I find, like, the Trustmaster stuff, it's so rugged and so, like, they're all metal construction. If you can pick up a second-hand set, they're going to be good for years to come. I think they retail for about €500. You could be lucky and get a second-hand set for maybe 350, 400 maybe, you know. So what are your plans, guys, for the 18th of August? Are you taking off work and school and family and everything? Do you know, I've only noticed this now, and I'm going to show you. The fuel tanks, right? So we'll look at our artificial horizon here on the right hand side, this fella. So we'll try and level our flight. We turn. Now I could be wrong here, but it's as if the fuel is actually moving around the tanks, and that's giving us a read. That's what it looks like, isn't it? I've never seen that before. What's your thoughts on the 3000 series graphics cards? I picked up the 2070 for £400. 2070s 400. So with Nvidia, with me, I have the RTX 2080 Ti, and this thing is the cat's meow. It laughs at pretty much anything you throw at it. Now it runs quite hot, so your cooling needs to be good. And I'm looking at it there now. It has lighting on it, which is cool because you can set up your motherboard. Don't hit that. You can set up your motherboard to adjust the lighting on it to give you an indication of the temperature. So it's really, really handy. Prior to this, I had the 1080, which was an 8 gig card, and it was fine as well. There was no real issues with it. But £400 for a graphics card for a 2070, I don't see an issue with that. That's good value. Annual leave already booked, stream scheduled and ready, dude. I'm doing Cardiff to Jersey. Nice. For the rest of us, that's how it's done. Black Knight started out playing Acorn Soft Aviator and Elite 1984 with an Acorn NH. We have to look this one up. Hang on, we need to look this one up. Someone else fly the plane here while we fly this. So this is a ANH01 joystick. ANH01 joystick. And it is Acorn. Look at that. That is amazing. 1984. An ANH01. So it was pretty much like the control pad you get on the really old arcade machines. Kinda. Lasted about, had a yoke a couple of years back. Lasted about 7 months. Currently on the Trustmaster Hog. Yeah, Trustmaster's brilliant. Josh Clarkey, good evening to you. How are you keeping, pal? Thanks for joining us. All is well. We're just doing a quick stream here tonight, messing around in the Sia Marchetti. As we completely turned the wrong direction. We took off from Casement Aerodrome Baldonnel, and I've just been kind of flying around taking in the scenery. Watch the bank. Pedals are pretty good. Yeah, the Cytec Pro Fly, the combat ones are, they would have been much better. The combat rotor pedals from Cytec, they would have been so much better. Ailerons into the wind. Gotta hop off. I hope to catch you shortly. Thanks so much for joining. Take care, buddy, and we'll see you again soon. I was all about streaming the X-Crafts Legacy tonight, and I went about doing it, and the sim crashed. And then I said, okay, we'll try it again, and we'll go to Edinburgh. And this was all on Twitch at 8 o'clock, and the sim crashed. And then I said, right, we'll give it a break. So I went off then trying to figure out what crashed my sim, and I figured it out and reported it to Laminar. And it was a known bug, so it was kind of my own fault. And then I said, I'll stick to something I kind of half know. So we're back in the Marchetti. So we're going to head back towards the Don and bring it in for a landing. Then I considered streaming Call of Duty. Don't know if you guys are interested or even had a look at the Call of Duty Modern Warfare game. It just seems to be kind of mindless shooting. But it's great to get your mind off things. And I want to do another truck sim vid soon as well. We're kind of spoiled for choice in the world of simulation. Or if you guys have any recommendations, if there's a game you're thinking of picking up or a sim you're thinking of and you want to look at it, let me know on Discord. We can have a look. I might have it. There's a good chance I do have it. Like, I have DCS and I have a lot of modules for DCS. I'm not very good. I'm hopelessly bad at DCS. I need to learn that sim. So, slowly making our return back up to Baldonnel. Now, the arcade ones would self-center. Nightmare when you're fleeing from the police ships. Shooting them through your rear-mounted military lasers. All in monochrome, of course. They were the days. I think I've an old Cytec did joysticks years ago as well, like you're talking like the late 90s. And it was I think it was called a Cytec Cyborg. And it had the yaw on the stick, which was cool. Just that was back in the Flight Sim 98 days, or Flight Sim 2000. Actually, I found a copy of Flight Sim 2000. I think it was 4 CDs or 2 CDs. Your eyes literally shatter now if you were to install that sim to look at it. It's painful. But it was great back then. So we're going to go ahead now and swap over to our left wing tank. There we go. Booster pump off. Doesn't take long to drain the fuel in these, I can tell you. Okay, so we meander back towards... We're going to come over kind of Kildare neck of the woods. And then we'll turn left and head back up to the Don. That's such a cool new feature now I've spotted tonight with the fuel levels moving. It's the little things. Kind of have Nace off in the distance there, over the nose to the right. We can see the Dawn from here. So our altitude is quite high. Go ahead, bring our throttle back now. This plane is so responsive. Fuel consumption would be higher with rocket pods on. Yeah, defo, 100%. The drag I'd say they created was something fierce. Now, does anybody know where the landing gear warning horn is? Found it. Never mind, it's found. It's just down here, look. Hello, mouse. This guy here. $3,000 feet, yeah, so we're a little bit high there. So we'll go around here and do a sharp-ish turn. That's Weston there. Weston Airport right in front of us. We'll do a quick fly to it. Not too shabby. And we'll roll back around here now, bleed off some of that speed. So 1500 feet. Bring our mixture back to full. Set our props to full. We're good and low. Keep the nose up here. Mind the stall. Landing gear coming down. We have 3 greens. Go for about 20 degrees flaps here. And we'll just coast ourselves over to the runway. Was it FS8 or 9 which had the add-on for this? I think it was Flight Sim 9 that had the Space Shuttle one. There was an add-on you could get for the Space Shuttle as well. You'd actually, that was like groundbreaking for Flight Sim back in the day. So watch our speed here on approach. I love this plane, I have to say. The modelling and texturing is fantastic. And the sounds are good as well. A little bit high, but we'll flare early. Mind the float, keep it on the centre line as much as we can. There's contact. Nice. There's our toe brakes here now. Get us back under a bit of control. Our canopy here as well. Bring our flaps back in. Turn left here on the taxiway. We're on Bravo 2. Good landing, says Kenneth. Thanks, Kenneth. Don't worry, my luck will run out someday. There's nothing worse getting your landing wrong, especially in some of the jets. Like I have made many a trademark Ryanair landing, especially flying the Zebo. Kadoom. Nice, Annie pal. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel for this evening. The Beach Starship. Ah, yes. Now I get you. That would have been Flight Sim. FS4, really? Was it not in Flight Sim 95? That's when they went kind of totally 3D. So our flight this evening took us off here from Baldonnel as we come past the Kazas. I believe they have an order in to replace them with new Kazas. As we taxi across the main ramp. I think we'll throw it in the VIP parking. Because I think this aircraft deserves VIP status. Amazing sounds. Okay, so parking brakes can now come on. I've struggled with the MU2. Is that the Mitsubishi one? From X Aviation, I think. I couldn't handle that at all. Now, spark plugs are fouling. Let's burn off some of that carbon. So go ahead and start tidying things up. So let me see. Strobe can come off. Pitot can come off. The emergency avionics master switch. Landing light. Transponder can now go to standby and off. These are all okay. Turn them off. They're all okay. So our fuel, so we get back here. We started off with pretty much full tanks, so our tip tanks, we've run them down to a quarter. The right hand side, we've dropped it down to a quarter, and a bit used out of the left as well. Not too shabby. Yeah, the Mitsubishi I found it really difficult to fly. It's a really nice looking plane, and I know it got updated. Do I even have it installed? I don't think so. No, I don't have that one installed. I had it there a while ago, and I've when I say I've pretty much all the add-on aircraft, it's easier for me to do like a list of what I don't have, because I'm a dope and I've picked them all up over the years. So I have multiples of multiples, but I tend to jump back to the same aircraft a lot. So as we continue on, avionics can come off and leave the beacon and all that on. Nav lights there, all sound. Your throttle down here a little bit. Cut the mixture. Turn our mags off. Alternator off. Nav lights and beacon. And then our battery. There we have it, guys. Another successful flight. And I have to say, I had a lot of fun in this one tonight. The Marchetti from J. Rowland. So our plan this week, we'll be back on for a stream on Friday. Black Knight. Ultimate sins such as full flap landings or flaring above or below 50 feet. No penance shall ever cover these sins. I agree. Right guys, that's going to be it for tonight. It being Wednesday, a school night for those of you still in school, and those of you who have work in the morning and whatever else. But I will like to extend my thanks and gratitude for joining me here tonight. A relatively short stream, but by all means, you're more than welcome to join us now in the Discord server, or Discord server. We can continue the conversation, and feel free to add as much or as little content as you want. I'd love to see some screenshots, some of the hardware setup, any questions or anything at all. That's where we can continue on the chat when we're not streaming. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I enjoyed that flight. Great fun. We'll do a little bit more on this Marchetti. That's our first successful flight, and we'll see where we go. So until next time, take care of each other, stay safe, and we'll see you, well, all going well, we'll see you on Friday. Alright guys, thanks very much. See you soon.